example, if I was to draw three spheres on my page here, and we'll call them by their names A, B, and C. Let's just say the sphere number A was tilting a little bit to the right, okay? So it's going to be going in this direction here. And let's say sphere number, letter B, is tilting a little bit to its right. And we'll say C is looking straight up and down, all right? So this would be the 2D axis. Is it tilting to the right? Is it tilting to the left? Or is it straight up and down? In our example of our photo here, I believe this girl is probably straight up and down, okay? She's neither tilting to the right or to the left. Next, that's 2D. Next is 3D. Once we establish whether the person's tilting to the right or tilting to the left, then we've got to determine, are they tilting forward or are they tilting back, okay? So let's say in this person is tilting back, all right? And we could tell this by a couple things. One, if we see a lot of the underside of their nose, you know, if you see a lot of their nose, the underside here, that means they're tilting up. Also, if their ears tend to be lower than their brow line, and their brow line is this brow line right along here. If their ears, see how my ears are falling below that? That's going to tell me also that they're tilting up. Now let's look at the opposite. Let's just say, we'll say in B, this person's tilting down, okay? All right, well in this case, I wouldn't see anything. I would not see the underside of their nose, and their ears would fall a little bit to the higher end of the page. You see that? And then in C, let's just say this brow line was looking straight at us here. And this nose, we could see a little bit of the underside of the nose. And the ears tended to line up with the top of the brow line. All right? So that's how we're going to determine whether we are looking at something that is tilting forward or tilting back. Now, that's the 3D axis. Now, I've already given away the face part, but we could change that a little bit. So let's do this. Let's just erase this, and I'm going to erase the brow line here, and I'm going to erase the nose down there, and I'll erase that. All right. So we have the brow line, we have the center line. Oh, I got to erase my ears as well, and I'll show you why in just a second. Now we've got to determine where the face is. So the face could be over here. You see this? And if the face was over here, I would still see the underside of the nose, but I'd see only one ear because the other ear is hidden behind. You see that? Down in B, if I put the face over here, okay, well, I'm going to see one ear over there. I'm not going to see the underside of the nose. And if it was C, okay, great. I'm going to see the ears. Oh, and if let's just say it was a 3/4 view, it was right here. I might see just a little bit. I might see just a little bit of the ears, but it's going to be off to the center, okay? Which brings up one more thing, and I want to show you this simple concept of face placement. And I repeat this because it's so important. Let's say you have 3 smiley faces on a page. You would probably say to me that all 3 of these faces are looking straight at me. Well, I could change that. Of course, if I put the face dead center in the circle, yes, he is looking straight at me. But if I move the face to the left-hand side, wow, now the placement creates a 3/4 view. And if I place the face toward the bottom, wow, now I'm kind of giving the indication that he's looking down. So when you are building your sphere and your faces, be aware to shift things either to the right or to the left and it's going to add to the idea whether they're looking up or down, to the right, to the left. It's a 3/4 view or straight on view. Okay? Hey, look at that. Chris is chiming in with a good evening from the UK. All right, my friend. It's a little bit nicer working right now, Chris, huh? Instead of 9 o'clock or midnight, which you guys usually are tuning in for. Okay. So let's, I don't want to lose that one. I like that one there. And let's delete that. Okay. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that either. There. All right, we're just going to hide that. And we'll bring in a new photo. All right, there she is. So let's go ahead and get started on this portrait drawing. And see how we do today, okay? All right, so first thing, here's one more tidbit for you, okay? I know I've given a lot to you, but here's one more. If I'm gonna look straight in the camera here. Look at my head. Usually if you are looking straight into the camera, the head shape is gonna be flat. You see that? See, it's gonna be flat on the side. It's gonna be something like this. You can achieve this simply by drawing your sphere. Here's your brow line. And then you're going to slice off the edges like this. If a head is looking straight at you, that is what's happening. Now, if a head turns completely to the side, wow, look at that. Now, the head takes on this shape. Usually, sometimes it's described like this and like this. You see this? There's your ear line and there's the ear right there. You see that? It takes on a much wider view. And then you're going to also get it into a 3/4 view where it's a combination of both. Okay, so these are things that you definitely want to think about as we draw the face. So, looking at this girl, she's looking, let's go through our list here, 2D, 3D, and face placement, okay? Let's just talk through this. So first, on 2D, she's neither tilting to the left nor is she tilting to the right, okay? On 3D, she's not really tilting her head forward, nor is she tilting her head back. It's almost a straight on view. But now the face placement is definitely off to the left, and that's going to cause us to have a 3/4 view. So let's keep that in mind as we draw. That means the face is going to be a little bit on the wider side. So I'm going to start off with a sphere, okay? And then I'm going to look for this brow line. It's going to come across, slightly crossed like this. And now the center line, the placement of the face, the center line runs right between the two eyes, right down the center of the nose. You see that? So we want to just roughly try and put that in, just like something like that. Now, how can I tell where that goes? Well, let me show you. Let me show you what I do to figure that one out. I typically look at, I imagine that there is a center line going down here, and then I'll look at what's the width. What's the width of that right there? That is my key, okay? So that is a great way to try and place that center line by looking at that relationship. All right, so we have that. All right, so I'm going to come down here with a little bit of an angle to try and get the side of her face, okay? Next thing I'm going to do is look for the temples. Now, the temples are the little nodes underneath your, right here at the edges of your eyebrows, okay? So let's see where they're, okay, there, we're going to be right there on the girl and maybe right over about there, okay? And then I'm going to draw like as if I sliced off the side of her head there. So I get this very flat. Heads typically are very flat along the sides, okay? And you could kind of indicate that with just with a very light line, okay? All right, let's go ahead then and establish about where these eye line's going to be, right? It's going to hang just below just below the brow line there. And then usually it's in half. So from the brow line, let's kind of try and estimate about where the nose is. The bottom of the nose is going to be right here, okay? And usually then it's going to be a half. So in this case, let's look at this right here. Let's just put a mark on here. So there's my brow line. There's my eye line. There's my nose, the line underneath, and here's, all right, and let's just, for fun, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Oops. Let's just move that over. Look at that. Look how closely even that is. Okay, so eye line, bottom of the nose to bottom of the chin, it's about halves, okay? So there's my eye line right there. I'm going to say that this is going to be the bottom of my nose. And let's come down about half, right about there. That's going to kind of be a rough estimate of where my chin's going to be. All right. Next, let's look for the visor. Okay, what is the visor? All right. Visor is this place right here. You see how it comes in almost like a visor? This works really well when you're on a 3/4 view, all right? And a visor is like this part of the head. Comes down here like this. All right? That's what we call the visor. So that will help to, that just gives us more information to work from as we add that in. So let's do that. So there's that right there. Okay, then her cheek's going to come out a little bit. Let's get this angle. It's not much there. And then we're going to come straight down to the chin there. Look at that. All right. Same thing on this side. It's going to come out like that slightly. All right, this is where her cheekbones are going to go. Okay. This is going to be the bottom of her nose, I believe we established. All right, so that's going to help us establish where that visor goes. All right. Let's talk about the ear. The ear we can't see, but we know that typically the top of the ear lines up with the eyes, okay? Eyes or brow line, it just depends on the person's age. We'll go halves on this, and it usually goes to the bottom of the nose. So her ears are covered by her hair right now, so we'll just kind of indicate that for the time being. And then from the bottom of the ear, you want to drop down just a little bit to find the corner of the jaw. Now the corner of the jaw is going to drop down and you could kind of feel it. It usually lines up with your mouth. Just like that, okay? And then what we'll do is then we'll just very lightly connect those two. You let me know if I'm going too fast on this, okay? There's a saying I like to say is that don't draw a person's likeness. Don't even worry about it, but worry about their construction. If you get all of these constructions start to in place, the likeness will start to snap into place. It's a really interesting process. If you only focus on it's like this idea. And I was actually thinking of this thought this morning. If I was a conductor starting to put together an orchestra, more than likely, I would not start with the third chair piccolo. No, that's not where I would begin. I would like look at the big picture and I would be like, okay, we've got our brass. I'm going to need some brass instruments. I'm going to need some string instruments. I'm going to need some percussion. And so I would kind of like get a feel for how all of those are going to mix together. And then I might go into the percussion and I might break that down. Oh, I'm going to need some snare drums and some bass drums, and I would break that down a little bit. And then I'd go to the, you see what I mean? Then I'd go to the woodwinds and the brass. Hey, look at that. Leah's in the house. Hello there. And then I would break those things down as well. You see, so I'm breaking things down into their smallest forms. Okay, let's keep going here. So now let's get the keystone in for the top of the nose. Okay. And then we're going to come down. Let's get this nose coming in like this. And it's going to circle around. Look at that. Just like that. Did I just draw that not long enough? I may have. You know what? I'm going to make it longer, actually. I'm going to come all the way down to there. And I hope I just didn't blow it. But we'll see what happens, okay? Okay. All right, let's keep going here. All right, so we got the bottom of our nose there. Excellent. All right. Let's go ahead and put in this the nostril, okay? And of course the wing is going to come behind that. And already look what I've done. I've lined my nostril up with the bottom of the nose, but I look at the picture and that's not the case at all. Uh-oh. I'm in deep trouble now. But heck, you know, that's the way we roll. We just keep going forward here, right? Okay, next. We got that down here. Let's go ahead and look at the ball of the mouth. All right. Ball of the mouth. And we're going to drop in the chin as well. All right. We'll continue here. Now, typically, if you look at the wing, the outside of the wing of the nose lines up with the inside part of the eye, okay? And in our picture here, let's jump up here. In our picture here, all right, it's close, but her eye is a little bit more to the right. So we want to keep that in mind, all right? So it's going to be right a little bit more to the right. So we'll just come over maybe right about there. And then the other mark before I draw I want to determine how wide the eye is. I do see this going on. Let's get up here. Look at the corner of her eyes right there, but then the corner up there, it's just slightly higher. Okay, so I want to keep that in mind as well. So we'll go a little bit higher there, okay? And let's go ahead, I'm going to draw the eyeball in. It's the way that I like to do it. And there's many ways to do it, and let's get this other one in now as well. Sometimes it's easier for me to work out my proportion if, all right, you're going to stay, Leah just chimed in, I'll stay to rewatch again. Okay, sounds good. All right, let's get these pupils in. And I'm just kind of looking at, when I draw my pupils, one thing I'm checking, I'll show you. Let me get on the right layer here. I'm looking at, let me zoom in here. I look at this distance here. I look at this negative space compared to the size of the pupil. You see that? This is negative space in here. That's what I'm looking at. All right. So I'm going to make mine just a little bit wider. There it is. And then I'm going to drop my other one here. Same thing. I'm looking at that negative space there. All right. I'm going to put in my eyelids now. And when you're drawing your eyelids, let's just say this is your eyeball. Just don't think of a perfect rainbow. What you want to do really is come up and then down. So it's slightly off center. This is the way you want to think of drawing your eyes, okay? So we're going to come up and then we're going to come down. Okay, let's go ahead and get that lower eyelid in. And let's do the same thing on the other side. Now look at the other side. It goes really up on the outside there and then sweeps down. Let me do this. My precious wife is calling me. Yes, let me give her a thumbs up here. Oh. All right, here we go. Let's keep going here. You're getting involved in all my domestic conversations, right? All right, let's get those top eyelids in now. And then as far as her eyelashes go, I'm just barely going to indicate them, but just make sure that top eyelid is a little bit thicker than normal, except on the 3/4 view. Look at that. It really shows when it turns the corner there. See that? So I want to show that. Definitely I want to show that. All right, carrying on here. Let's carry on. Okay, let's get this nose in place here because I don't know what I did. And I'm just going to, a lot of times when we're drawing women, we want to be careful of that distance of the nose. It's like from the brow line all the way down to the tip. So a lot of times you'll see artists, they will just draw like this tip area and then let their line fade away and let the mind connect this because, we want to make a nose. We don't want to bring a lot of attention to a woman's nose, but just enough to keep it very feminine looking. All right, so we got that. All right, let's put these, let's keep moving forward here. Let's get these, I'm looking at this eyebrow on the left-hand side. And as I'm looking at it, let me change this over here. I want to show you, I'm going to zoom in. In order to get the position of that eyebrow right, I'm actually going to be looking really at that negative space right there, okay? So I'm really keeping my eyes not on the eyebrow, but on that negative shape. Okay. And let's get this other one as well here. That's what we're going to go with, I believe. I'm going to go ahead and tone in my irises slightly, my pupils. We'll come back and go a little bit darker here when we get a little bit more in. All right. Let's move down to her lips now, okay? When I'm drawing lips, the first thing I like to do is find the center line. Use the center line as a guidance, okay? And the center line goes from the very center of the nose. It comes right down the center of the lips and goes right below the chin. So let's just curve that center line very carefully in. And then the other thing I like to look for is where is the lips come together here, okay? So I'm going to, when I'm drawing lips, I like to, this is the point where the lips come together. You see that? This is actually a nice little place to start, because then it gives me an idea of where, of how to build off of that. So let's start there, okay? It's going to be short over here, and it's going to be a little bit longer over there, because I'm looking at it on a 3/4 view. Now, watch very carefully. Look at this. I'm going to zoom in here and show you this here. So we've just established, we've just established this idea. Okay? Just established that idea on our page. This is our center line coming down here. All right? Now, look where this lip, the top lip starts way below this and has a real nice arc to it. All right? Then this one is really stretched out quite a bit. Get this one right. Make sure that this falls below that edge there, okay? All right, so here we go. We're going to get top of lip is going to be right there. Am I on the right layer? Yep. Got that. Good. Make this a little bit bigger there. Great. And this is going to peak and drop down. And then this one's going to be a little bit, it's going to peak at the same distance, but then it's going to come all the way out to right about, I'm looking at a lining. Watch this now. This is the alignment I'm checking. Where is this lining up with that eye? You see that? So that's going to be right about there. All right. And I'm just going to, yep, just something like that. We'll do that for right now. All right, let's just kind of come in there with a little bit of a circle. And then I'm not going to, the left-hand side, I'm just going to jump right into the shape of that bottom lip. You see that? And then we're just going to sweep this around. And boom, there you go. There are some beautiful lips that you just drew. And we used it. We used them, we looked at it as parts and slowly built up. Now, let me just say on the aspect of drawing lips, it would be wise for you to watch this video, this little section over a couple times and really understand how these lips work when it comes to like using the concept of overlap. Because that's really what we're talking about here. What form overlaps another, and that creates depth. You see what I'm saying? Okay, let's continue on here. All right, so we have our chin coming in here, and looks like I probably dropped this chin just a little bit. I went a little bit too long, but I can make an adjustment here. And let's see what's next here. Let's get the bottom of her eye here. And then this, and she's going to have a slight shadow over here. So I'm just going to put a slight indication there. All right, here we go. I'm going to get this nice cheek in. Cheek is going to flare out there, and it's going to have a nice curve and come in really close, real close to those lips right there. And then we're going to have our chin coming out just a little bit. And she has a cleft in her chin, and that's going to be slight. That's probably too big for me, so we'll just do a little bit there. It's even still too much. We'll go with that right there. Okay. Wow, I think we're coming together nicely here. All right, so let's go ahead now and add our hair into our portrait. And let's think of the hair. Let's think of the hair as a mass, like you're taking clay and you're not drawing individual hairs, but you're actually drawing a mass, okay? So let's start over here, and we will start to build that in, okay? So let's first start off just with the shape. Let's get our shape right, okay? All right, and then I'm going to come over here like this, right? And we have this like this. She has this, we have this nice little negative space here that's showing up. All right, so I'm going to draw the negative shape. And then I'm looking at the negative distance from here. Let me show you what I'm looking at now. I'm looking at like the distance from this to there. That's what I'm kind of judging right now. So we're going to come around a little bit. Just looking at the general shape now of her hair. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, let's get the back end here. Just thinking of the mass, squinting my eyes if I have to. All right, and then she has some beautiful curls that are going down here. I'm just going to try and use surface lines right now to kind of indicate them, and I could come back a little bit later and show those, okay? All right, let's get some hair on this other side as well. Just thinking of mass right now. I'm not thinking of individual strands. Okay. All right, let's try and break this is now let's break the hair down just a little bit here, okay? So we have some pieces that are going like this, and really I'm just using surface lines. It's almost, we had a class on Monday about drawing waves. It's very similar to that. Okay, and we could use some other surface lines right here to indicate the direction of her hair. And then over here, let's see, how far? Okay, so this is like, I could see that it looks like she has either a blanket it's coming down there just a little bit. Just slowly building it up. So now, at this point, now it's just a matter of we have most of our construction down. It looks pretty good. Now it's a matter of just adding value. Adding value. So let's do this. Let's merge those two together. Did I just do that? And when we add value, we want to make sure that we are doing it carefully with tone. Okay. And so let's just squint. Now there's more value in her hair. So let's start there by adding some, try and get in a very even tone. And we will start with that. And we can always add more. This, her hair is very dark. It's adding some beautiful contrast to her face. Making sure this is a very even tone. All right. Now let's add some tone to the top of her lip. And there's a little bit of shadow underneath her bottom lip. All right. Well, we're coming up to the 50-minute mark on this, so I think we're going to kind of wrap it up at this moment. If you've made it this far, you could see kind of what our next steps are, and that's to add that tone and to get that nice combination of value of the dark contrast of her pupils and her hair versus her skin and the area of her lips and the shadow of her nose. I'd love to see what you've done. Please log into our Facebook group and post your work. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Let me know if you have any. Please give a thumbs up and a comment down below. And if you need any help on it, feel free to email me or to post your work in our Facebook group and call me out. I'll take a look at it. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in this afternoon. My name is Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Saturday night, not our Saturday night, but our Saturday afternoon live sketch. And I will see you guys later. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.